As dawn barely breaks, the entire jungle awakens in a vibrant symphony of countless species. The sun's rays pierce the high treetops and cover the landscape with a beauty as serene as it is mysterious, as if it were a land never touched by the outside world. But behind that apparent tranquility lies a completely different reality. The deeper we go into the areas where light grows scarce and fragments among the thick foliage, the closer we come to the territory of one of the most fearsome predators of this ecosystem. The jaguar, the true king of the jungle. Its body is not elongated like a cheetah's, nor as slender and agile as a leopard's. It has a robust build, broad shoulders, a powerful chest, and dense musculature that conveys extraordinary strength. As a solitary animal, the jaguar seeks company only during the breeding season. At that time, the female sends signals through scents, calls, and territorial marks to attract a mate. After a gestation period lasting between 93 and 105 days, the mother usually gives birth to between 1 and 4 cubs, though 2 is the most common. Having few cubs lets her concentrate her resources on feeding and protecting them better. Unlike many other species, the male takes no part in caring for the cubs. The entire responsibility falls on the mother. Between 3 and 6 months of age, the cubs begin to grow familiar with meat and accompany their mother on her first hunting expeditions. The young stay with her for between 1.5 years and 2 years before becoming fully independent. But what makes the jaguar one of the most fearsome big cats is not its maternal instinct, but its almost perfect hunting ability. It has an extraordinarily powerful bite, able to pierce a thin sheet of metal with a single press of its jaws. And it does not rely on strength alone. The jaguar is also a master of ambush. Under the fragmented light that filters through the thick canopy, the rosettes of its coat blur the contours of its body, letting it almost completely disappear into its surroundings. Meanwhile, on the riverbank, a family of capybaras keeps feeding calmly near the water. They do not sense that, among the dense vegetation, a predator is approaching in silence. And when the opportunity arises, the jaguar unleashes all its strength and speed. No chaos, nothing drawn out, only a few seconds. The hunt is over. It is not cruelty. It is the oldest law of nature. One life ends so that another may continue. But in the Amazon, the capybara does not exist simply to become an offering to the king of the jungle. Over millions of years, this species has evolved and adapted to survive in an extremely demanding environment. With its rounded body, coarse brown fur, and ever-calm gaze, it seems a creature untouched by the chaos around it. It often stays motionless beside the water, like a monk in deep meditation. Not out of naivety, but because stillness is a survival strategy perfected over millions of years. Capybaras live in groups and usually gather near rivers, lagoons, and wetlands. They are excellent swimmers. And can stay submerged for several minutes to escape danger. Their eyes, ears, and nostrils sit on the top of the head, letting them stay almost completely underwater without losing sight of what is happening around them. It seems this species has accepted a simple truth. In the Amazon, not everyone is born to become a predator. Some survive thanks to calm, observation, and the ability to react at the right moment. And in those very murky waters lives a giant living fossil, so motionless it seems to have melted into its surroundings. The Black Caiman. Forged through millions of years of evolution, it possesses an extraordinary capacity for adaptation that lets it operate effectively both in the water and on dry land. hunts, it stays almost completely motionless. With an unsettling patience, it leaves only its eyes and nostrils visible above the surface of the water, a perfect design for ambush. When it catches large prey, it drags them into deep water to overpower them, and then uses its signature body roll to tear them apart. But today, the old ruler will have no luck. From the opposite bank rises a sharp, shrill sound. It is a pack of giant otters in the middle of a hunt. They are not solitary predators. They function like a true army. Beneath their playful appearance hides a body perfectly adapted to the aquatic environment. Their fur is made of two layers, an outer one, long, dense, and waterproof, and an inner one, soft and fine, that holds a layer of air against the skin. This lets them retain body heat and stay dry even after long hours in the water. Otters are highly intelligent, energetic, and deeply social animals. In that moment, their playful instinct gives way to vigilance. A black caiman has made the mistake of approaching the group's hunting area. Almost immediately, the entire pack lets out loud alarm calls. They quickly scatter and surround the reptile from different angles. Some swim in circles to confuse it, while others draw closer and closer until they suddenly lunge to force it out of the area. Amid the churning waters, the black caiman is finally forced to retreat. The otters have proven that strength does not always belong to the one with the biggest jaws or the toughest armor. Sometimes, the real advantage lies in the coordination of an entire group. This land does not belong to the strongest. It belongs to those who best know how to adapt to the demands of nature. And then, from the highest level of the canopy, one last messenger breaks the silence. A sound unlike any ordinary call. It is more like a thunder trapped in the throat of the jungle for millions of years and finally set free. It is the Howler Monkey. In the rainforest, there are around 6 to 9 different species of howler monkeys. among the most notable being the red howler, the black howler, and the brown howler. Each species has its own distinctive coloring and its own geographic range. To call them simply noisy primates would be far too shallow a view. In the world of the Amazon, they are more like the performers of ancient rituals upon a sacred altar. Creatures to whom nature has granted the power to tear the silence of the jungle apart with their haunting calls alone. Behind that wild face hides a strange anatomical design. Inside the howler monkey's throat lies an enlarged hyoid bone. Shaped almost like a prehistoric shell hidden beneath flesh and skin. This unique structure turns every breath into powerful sound waves able to travel for miles, strong enough to shake and wake the sleeping jungle. That roar is not only a form of communication, it is also a declaration of territory. A typical group of howler monkeys is usually made up of between 6 and 15 individuals. Within that social structure, the dominant male holds the most important role. He is responsible for guarding the territory and making sure the group stays protected from intruders. At the same time, he leads their movement patterns, deciding where the group travels and which feeding areas they will use. Unlike many other primates that feed mainly on fruit and insects, the howler monkey's diet consists largely of leaves, a food source hard to digest and poor in nutrients. To survive on this demanding diet, they developed a highly specialized digestive system able to ferment food in a way similar to ruminant animals. Letting them extract as many nutrients as possible from limited resources. Although they are not predators, howler monkeys play an exceptionally important role within the Amazon ecosystem and are often described as the gardeners of the forest. Because their diet is based mainly on leaves and fruit, they scatter seeds unintentionally through undigested remains. As they move continuously through the layers of the canopy, they carry seeds over great distances, keeping the trees from growing too concentrated in a single area. Reducing competition and helping maintain both the biodiversity and the long-term stability of the forest. At the same time, by consuming large amounts of young leaves, they help regulate the overgrowth of vegetation, preserving the ecological balance. And yet, they themselves are also an essential source of food for predators, like the harpy eagle and the jaguar, thus sustaining the balance of the Amazon food web. Deep in the ancient rainforest, sometimes the instant right after the loudest cry becomes the most terrifying of all. because at the very moment the roar fades, the jungle suddenly falls into an unnatural silence. Below, on the forest floor, where the darkness hangs thick as ink, something else is emerging. No sound, no warning, only a shadow, slowly pulling away from the night. It is the jaguar, the sovereign of the Amazon floor, a ghost cloaked in black scars. The black jaguar is not a separate species, but an extremely rare variation of the jaguar, caused by melanism, a genetic mutation that increases melanin pigmentation in the body. Turning its coat black or extremely dark. Even so, its characteristic rosette patterns still remain, hidden beneath the dense pigmentation and only visible under intense light. Its black coat lets it merge with the darkness, giving it a superior advantage during nighttime hunts. Especially within the low-light environment of the rainforest, where prey can barely detect its presence. One of the least understood aspects of this predator is its extraordinary capacity for adaptation. Unlike many other big cats which naturally fear water, the jaguar is a warrior able to survive between two worlds, land and water. It not only dominates the forest floor, but is also an exceptional swimmer. Fully willing to plunge into dark waters to face and kill caimans weighing hundreds of pounds. Within the rainforest, the jaguar plays the role of apex predator, a crucial link that helps maintain the functional balance of the entire ecosystem. By hunting species like capybaras, caimans, and wild pigs, it regulates prey populations, preventing population explosions that could place excessive pressure on the vegetation. And reduce biodiversity. At the same time, by attacking weak, old, or sick individuals, it helps limit the spread of disease and strengthens the genetic quality of prey populations. But the Amazon has never belonged to simple limits. Here, a true king does not hunt only where it is strongest. It dares to enter places where even the smallest mistake means death. High above the Amazon sky, where rising thermal currents hold enormous wings suspended in silence. Another creature watched quietly over everything happening below the forest. It is the king vulture. To call it simply a scavenger would be far too shallow an interpretation, because within the brutal cycle of this rainforest, it is more like a purifying deity. The one that arrives at the end, but completes what all the others leave unfinished. The king vulture's appearance is at once strange and surprisingly majestic. Its featherless head, covered in folds of intensely colored skin, looks like the palette of a maddened painter. There is no softness or conventional beauty in it. Only rawness, arrogance, and an almost supernatural presence befitting a creature long accustomed to the stench of decay and death. Its pale, white eyes show neither mercy nor revulsion. They simply observe, as if they already understood that in the Amazon, decay is not the end, but a necessary transition within the cycle of life. From thousands of feet above the ground, it can read the language of death carried on the wind. A single faint sign of decay, a trace of scent almost imperceptible to most other creatures, is enough to draw it in. It does not kill with claws or fangs. It does not ambush. It does not chase. And yet, it remains an indispensable force within this ecosystem. It is the bridge between existence and oblivion, between the end of one body and the beginning of countless other forms of life. In the Amazon jungle, the king vulture functions as a natural system of biological cleansing, helping maintain the balance of the entire ecosystem. Thanks to an exceptionally powerful digestive system, it can neutralize dangerous bacteria like salmonella and even the pathogens that cause anthrax, reducing the risk of disease spreading in the wild. After consuming most of a carcass, what remains continues to feed insects, microorganisms, and finally returns nutrients to the soil, recycling energy back into the ecological cycle. Its presence is also an important indicator of a healthy, intact ecosystem, signaling that the food chain still remains complete. Conversely, a decline in king vulture populations can serve as a warning sign that the environment faces serious ecological stress. But the ancient rainforest does not survive thanks to the presence of a single king. It survives thanks to all of them. Because as long as the howler monkey's roar keeps echoing through the canopy, the forest will keep seeding itself and being reborn. As long as the jaguar keeps hunting silently in the darkness, prey populations will stay in balance. And as long as the king vulture keeps tracing circles in the sky, death will not turn into disease, but will return to the earth as a necessary part of the cycle of survival. In this land, no creature is truly insignificant. Each species is a living organ within the colossal machinery called the Amazon. But perhaps the most terrifying truth is this: if the natural environment collapses, everything collapses with it. Nature protects every species, and every species, in turn, keeps nature alive. They are not two separate worlds. They are bound by a single thread of survival. Remove just one link, and the entire balance of the rainforest begins to fracture. That is why protecting the Amazon is not simply about protecting trees, rivers, or wild animals. It is about protecting an entire living system where every call, every hunt, every fallen body has a meaning for the survival of everything else.